Hello everyone, how you going and welcome back to Lifehacks, the place that, as it says, uncommon solutions for common problems. Just every little tip and trick that can make your life way easier. Just these people have it for you, just serve it up on a silver platter. So really, if you think about it that way, it's actually quite a wholesome sub. But anyway, let's jump straight into it, shall we? So then starting off with, oh what? No one will notice. They absolutely notice. Everyone's going to notice that you've chopped through the random pepperoni. I guess that does look as though they've kind of lined it up here. But really, there's no way that anyone's ordering a whole pizza and then just going, oh yes, that is exactly what I ordered. Besides the fact that it completely just stomps on the fact that I just said it was a wholesome sub, you've basically just taken a third of the entire pizza just for yourself, and not even just being proud of the fact, you're just trying to cover it up and just give everyone their little pizza. And in doing so, even though the little pizza does make a circle, really it just looks a little bit manky. You can see that not all the pieces line up and not even all the pepperoni lines up. I really don't understand how they've done this piece, and so I don't really know if this is even a life hack. I mean, I guess it allows you to kind of eat more pizza if you only want one massive slice, or maybe it's for people on a diet so they go, oh no, I only eat one piece of pizza. But besides that, I just don't see anyone having a real use for this. I feel as though this stuff is generally pretty good about delivering real straight life hacks, but I just don't feel as though just slicing up a pizza differently just so you can be a little bit greedy is a life hack. I mean, I guess it's a cool kind of display of mathematics in terms of angles and everything like that, but really, to be doing this and expecting no one would notice, I feel as though I would notice if nothing else. I mean, hey, maybe I just know my pizza a little bit too well, but really, there is just no way, unless you're trying to feed some kids, that anyone is going to be happy with that little pizza like right there. That's important. I was really upset that homeless people did not have access to the $1,400 stimulus check. If you are homeless, you can go to a tax return office where they will file something called an EIP return. They will put money on a debit card after. Wow, well, obviously this doesn't really apply to me in terms of, I can only imagine this is in the US calling in a stimulus check and all of that. I didn't actually realize it was $1,400. I mean, maybe that's per fortnight, and as was mentioned per week, but really $1,400 of USD is not bad. And also, considering it is talking about the US as one I can only imagine, I don't know every single ins and outs of the entire thing, but in saying that, I would assume the stimulus check was just for everyone, just an absolutely blanket, here you go, here's some money. Or at least that's what I would have thought before seeing this post, where apparently homeless people don't get it. That doesn't really make any sense to me. If you're giving it out to everyone, then why not give it out to everyone? But thinking about it, I feel as though that's such a weird thing to kind of keep the homeless out. I mean, maybe they had a reason for it. I really don't know, and I'm really not kind of educated enough to even make a guess. And so I wonder if this is kind of just a little loophole, or how did this person find it out that isn't just kind of general knowledge, Because by the way they describe it, it sounds like you have to jump through a whole bunch of hoops, if you're homeless, you can go to the tax return office where they will file something this and then but like the list goes on. Well, I'm fairly sure at least it's advertised, but it's definitely going to be easier just for a general stimulus check. And also, in comparison to the last one, I just find it unbelievable that they even called that one a life hack. This one is literally a life hack. This one could keep someone alive, especially because they're homeless, whereas the last one just kind of represented every major company, just trying to take as much as they can to themselves. So yeah, luckily we've got people like this who can just kind of, read all the little laws and all of those kind of things to just figure out little loopholes, just so people can actually just get what they really deserve, especially in the case of the homeless, because I can only imagine that most of them aren't going to have the resources to be able to find this out on their own. So absolutely mad props to this guy. Hopefully this message just gets sent around to everyone and everyone can let them all know, because regardless of who you are and why you're in the situation that you're in, if you're in need of this money in the bank but it's just not actually in your pockets, then well, that is definitely need to be sorted out. And so luckily we have people like this just to do all the kind of hardcore reading or whatever was actually involved in this and just really just help some people out. Who's cutting onions? When you were nice to the weird girl and now she's your wife. Well, I feel as though I have seen this before, but it catches me off guard every single time. It just looks so ridiculous. I mean, hey, I've never tried it, so I don't know if it actually works or not. I'm fairly sure it actually, when you're cutting onions, it's something to do with your nose and actually not your eyes. Or, people wear goggles, but then they go, oh, why is it still not working? But I feel as though it might actually work when you create an entire hazmat suit with a pot lid. I just love the looks that she gives you, and she just kind of has to straighten up slowly so she doesn't lose the lid. And also the caption's incredible. When you were nice to the weird girl, now she's your wife. I mean, hey, she obviously has some fantastic qualities. If nothing else, she's resourceful, Like I said, she just made a hazmat suit out of a pot lid and a hoodie. But I have to agree that chopping onions is a serious problem. You just don't want to be wiping your teeth away, and especially you don't want to be wiping your teeth away because you might be chopping chili or even just put more onion in your eye. And so if you were in a purely functional form, who cares what you look like? Because as we can see, she's obviously in her pajamas and that's completely fine. But then to go add the lid into the entire mix with chopping onions, it's just a completely different level. And so, hey, like I said, I'm not going to judge if this is a problem for you, especially if it's a problem for you. And there you go, you just whack on a hoodie, whack on a lid, and then you'll be completely protected from onions. I mean, you might want to take it off after the fact. Considering you're chopping onions, I can only imagine you're going to be slaving over a hot stove, and you don't want to be wearing a hoodie around a hot stove unless you just really want more protection. But hey, if all you need is just to quickly whip up a hazmat suit, then here you go. They're right there and there. Everyone is going to have a hoodie and a pot lid, I can imagine. And who knows, you might even have one where you can take off the lid. I mean, maybe that'll leave a hole in there and you can kind of experiment as to if that lets too much onion in. But really, if you can take the lid off and actually have no onions in there, then that's an absolute win. That is a pure hazmat suit you've just created. Want to store cake in a container but don't have to dig it out later? Flip a Tupperware container upside down and use the lid as the bottom. Yep, I have to say that I have seen this one before, and I've actually employed it before. I had a cake that I wanted to take home and I went, oh, what can I do? Oh, I remember what I can do. Just flip it upside down and then you just completely remove the top. I mean, it's not difficult, but it's certainly not the easiest thing to do when you actually have to remove it, because generally when you're taking a lid off a Tupperware container like this, it does actually have to flex a little bit. So if I could add my 2 cents to this entire thing, maybe just get one with a little clip lock system where the lid actually doesn't actually kind of lock into it, because then you don't have to kind of pick it up and try and pry the lid off the thing. No, you just kind of unclip it and then it just completely pops off. But I definitely have to agree with the entire concept here. Who wants wants to be wasting cake, and really just allows you to keep the cake in tip-top condition probably for way too long. You know, you see some people that have just kept their wedding cake or whatever it may be for just way too long, just years or sometimes. And then sometimes they even bring it out of the freezer to eat it years later. And so, hey, even though I certainly wouldn't want to be eating, I don't know, 15-year-old cake, really a whole bunch of the credit just goes to the Tupperware container just for keeping it so perfectly sealed and also just protected. Like I said, if you do want to become a little bit psycho, then I guess you could put it in the freezer and it seemingly lasts forever, apparently. But really, I reckon the trusty old takeaway container, or I guess Tupperware container in this circumstance, is just perfect for storing something like this, you know, because it will keep it fresh for a very reasonable amount of time, just without being ridiculous. You know, you can just have it a few days later, or maybe even a week later. It'll taste exactly the same, and it'll still be moist, and it'll have all its original characteristics. But then when you add in the entire thing, put it on the lid and not on the base of the container, then you actually preserve the entire thing in its exact original form. And so, hey, like I said, everyone wants to keep a little bit of cake every now and again, and so this is the perfect way to do it if you were wondering. In the absence of the corkscrew, what are we gonna have? Oh my goodness, there is no... Whoa, that is incredible that it actually works. Look at that. I mean, I certainly don't know anyone that has that many kind of little lighters. That is actually incredible that that worked. I mean, I guess it makes sense that it does, because you're just kind of expanding the inside gases, or maybe actually just heating up the glass that's pushing it out, or whatever it may be. I guess it could also be the fact that the heat is transferring into the cork, and so it just wants to get out of there. But really, that's incredible about how well that works. I mean, like I said, I don't know anyone that has that many little lighters that they can just kind of all just smash it. You might as well just have a butane or put it over the stove at that point. I guess you also have to have a few friends around to kind of help you out with all the little lighters that you got. And also, let's be honest, based on their reactions, I can only imagine this isn't the first bottle of wine they've opened that night. But no, really, I'm just impressed about these people's ingenuity. I don't know if they were the first ones to do it, or I can only imagine they would have saw it somewhere. You know, virtually no one has an original idea anymore. But hey, I guess I can neither confirm it or deny it. So really, it's an incredible job that they've done just to kind of remove the cork. Like the cork, I'm kind of blown away that it worked that well. I mean, I don't really know if I can really recommend this one, considering in this case there was alcohol, fire, and glass involved. And even though the cork very clearly just wanted to get out of there, I feel as though there is a slight possibility that something worse could have happened. You know, the bottle could have expanded or just completely exploded or something just ridiculous like that. So hey, it's certainly a cool demonstration of heat transfer and all of those kind of things. You know, if you were just really struggling to get the cork out and you didn't have a corkscrew, then I guess this is an option that these two have proven works. But I'm just unsure as to whether this is the best method to kind of go about. Been storing my headphones in this sour candy case for years, wanted to share. I honestly have no idea what that sour candy case is, but I can only imagine that it works quite well in terms of keeping them untangled. I mean, it's saying that it kind of looks like a pain to get them in and out of there. You know, that's certainly not the biggest opening in the world. I mean, I guess you can just kind of smush them in there and you can all be fine, but really you got to be careful that you don't just kind of tangle them up as you're actually putting them in. And I feel as though at its roots, this entire life hack is just centered around the fact that you're trying to kind of preserve, or I guess just have a case for your wired earphones, where in reality you can actually buy things that are specifically designed for that. You know, some of them come with a little wire so it's nice and easy, whatever it might be. There are actual real cases that are designed to take headphones. So even though you did also get some sour lollies out of the entire thing, I just don't know how kind of recommended this is, or just how kind of normal it is, you know. Really, it's just something that has already been sold and you can find in every single $2 store ever. And I'm not saying that it isn't a life hack, but I feel as though if you had posted this maybe, I don't know, 5 years ago, it would have been a little bit more relevant. But really, to be honest, I feel as though I haven't seen a wide pair of headphones in a very long time, you know, especially just out in public. It seems as though virtually every single person that I see these days just has a pair of Bluetooth headphones. And so in that case, I just don't know how much of a life hack this really is. Because like I said, everyone's wearing Bluetooth headphones and they already come with a case. So look, I'd be lying if I say that I never tried something like this before, you know, just kind of recycle little packages that you have just to kind of keep them in pristine condition. And hey, I guess there's probably a whole bunch of people out there that probably are still using wired earphones, and so if this is a life hack for you, go for it. All I was saying is I feel as though, considering this guy's been carried around for however many years, you know, I certainly feel as though this kind of thing could have been posted a few years ago when he originally started doing it, and then it would have been a little bit more of a relevant life hack. If your sofa or love seat has one of these little flaps made out of the same material as the sofa, you should know that it is provided to test cleaning agents on. My goodness, let me just catch my breath back for a second after that title, because that was extremely long. But wow, I don't actually think that I've ever seen this before. You know, I feel as though when I've lifted up the couch cushions before, it certainly hasn't had anything like that. It just generally has a tag under there that just kind of says the usual do not eat or anything like that. But hey, it certainly makes sense. Props to the manufacturer actually kind of including that as a thing, you know, especially in this case, because there's obviously a leather lounge and no one wants to be ruining the perfect leather lounge, you know, just by cleaning it. Imagine that you actually go to kind of clean the thing, you know, you just kind of get a little bit of a spot off or whatever it is, and then you end up just making a massive patch where you just use the wrong kind of cleaning product or whatever it was. So really, it's just nice to see that something like this is even included or even just been thought of in the design process, because people can spend some pretty big money on some sofas and whatnot, so you certainly wouldn't want to be ruining it by trying to clean the thing. And so if that entire problem can be mitigated just by including one little square, then I guess that's just the perfect solution, you know. I mean, I don't know if I would have known what it was for. I mean, maybe it actually comes with an instruction manual. The couches come with instruction manuals. I feel as though generally just sit. But hey, what am I saying? That's exactly what this entire sub is about, you know, just little things that people might not know, just little life hacks, exactly like this one, but just kind of make your life easier or just make it so you don't stuff something up. And so like I said at the start of the video, it really can be quite wholesome when people are just trying to help each other out. And so now finally with the double one for life hacks, we have help keep our dwindling bee friends hydrated this summer. To help hydrate our pollinators, that doesn't sound like a good thing, but fill a bowl with marbles and add water. Marbles give the bees a safe place to land so they can drink without drowning. Basically, I guess what you're making is just kind of a little lake or a little kind of pond where there's just little pebbles in it. And really, it's so scalable, you don't need this many marbles, you can just do it in a little pot, because let's be honest, bees certainly don't drink that much water, so I feel as though you can certainly get away with having a way smaller container or even just less marbles than that. But no, this one is a literal life hack. You are literally keeping someone alive, or I guess a bee in this circumstance alive, just by doing this simple little life hack. Once again, it certainly isn't anything that I would have thought of, so well done to whoever actually thought this up, you know. I hadn't even looked down yet and seen the bee waterer. That is a great little title, you know, not drinking bowl or anything like that, just a waterer. But no, like I was saying, it's literally life hack, and obviously bees and I guess all insects of that can really suffer in the extreme heat because they just can't hold much volume. And so hey, like I said, it's just all the little things to just help people out, or I guess in this case just help an entire colony of bees out, and really in return they pollinate the entire thing and give us beautiful things to look at, but also if you look at the science, just really make the world go round. So well done life hacks, making the world go round and keeping everyone nice and happy and healthy. But anyway, that is going to do it with the top of the month for life hacks, so thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to do the YouTube and little things down below. Let me know if you had a favorite post out of any of these. Other than that, we check out awesome posts all over Reddit, so make sure you check some of our videos out now, or maybe you just want to consider subscribing so you don't miss another one of these in the future. But all in all, have a good one and see ya.